welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that for some people is very personal, and I think a lot of people suffer from this, and a lot of people get embarrassed talking about it and feel embarrassed, and I think it can even stop some people from being social because it becomes such a problem for them. And what I'm talking about is bloating. So you will see from the thumbnail of this video that my belly is very, very swollen. No, I'm not pregnant, but it definitely looks it. I'm very swollen, and that wasn't me pushing my stomach out. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about, is that everyone suffers from bloating at some point or at some stage. Some people suffer from bloating a lot worse than others, and that can be a result of intolerances with food or drinks or something that is upsetting your gut. It can also be as a result of bad gut health. And sometimes you can just get it, like me the other day. So I'm going to cover a few different things. I'm going to cover how or why you may be getting bloated. I'm going to cover what you can do to sort of stop the bloating, and I'm going to give you tips that you can do every day to avoid bloating altogether. So the first thing I want to talk about is bloating. This is mainly a problem for girls, but men also suffer from this. And it's basically where there's an imbalance in bacteria in your belly, and as a result, whether it's an intolerance or just a food that you've eaten that your stomach doesn't quite like, it can be as a result of dehydration. It can be as a result of too much food at once. It can be a result of maybe being a little bit sick, having a bit of bad bacteria hanging around. It's caused by many things, and to an extent, it is up to you to be a bit intuitive with what you are eating and what your gut health is like, and try and determine why you're getting bloating. Me personally, I used to suffer from bloating a lot. As a teenager, I had a lot of intolerances, and as a result, I constantly had an upset stomach. And then I ended up seeing a naturopath years and years ago, and they basically told me, look, you do suffer from some intolerances. You've actually built up this intolerance, so it wasn't something that I always had. But they said, as a result, you're going to have to go off certain foods for a while and let your stomach settle down and let your gut health settle down and let your good bacteria build back up, and then you can try slowly reintroducing those foods into your diet. So I did this, and I actually ended up being wheat intolerant. So it wasn't the gluten, it was the wheat. So I had to avoid wheat products. So rice and stuff like that was fine for me, but I'd had to avoid wheat, and I had to avoid dairy. And honestly, as soon as I did that, I felt better immediately. And I probably went 6 months to a year where I didn't have any of this stuff in my diet other than if I was splurging. So, I'd have an ice cream or I'd have chocolate, but I wouldn't have milk in my cereal, for example, every day. After this year, I sort of got a little bit more relaxed, and I guess I got a bit more comfortable with myself in general. So if I did get bloated, if I get bloated these days, I don't really care. To me, it's just like, look, I'm full. My belly's full. There's nothing I can do about it. Life goes on. But back then, I was definitely a lot more self-conscious of the fact that I was getting this. So, like I said, I was really, really good for about 12 months, and then I started slowly reintroducing those foods back into my diet in moderation. And now I'm fine to have anything, and I don't get those intolerances anymore, because basically the way the naturopath explained it to me was that your body can build up tolerances, and it can also they can also go away. So it's just about not overloading your stomach or your body with too much of that food that's causing the intolerance. I guess you could say it's the same thing as it's about not overloading your body with sugar to avoid like fat gain. So everything I do is 100% in moderation, and I don't have dairy a lot because I don't particularly like it anyway, but I can have dairy and it not be a problem anymore. So I guess why I wanted to share that with you was because I get a lot of girls come to me really embarrassed about bloating and feeling really down as if it's not normal or something that only they get. And I guess it's important for me to let you guys know that you're not normal because you get bloating, and if you do, it's not something you should really be ashamed of. It's not something that you shouldn't go out and socialize because of, and I get that it's an uncomfortable feeling, and I've been there, and like the other day I still get it occasionally, but I don't want it to become something that you feel incredibly ashamed of, because at the end of the day we're all human. But in saying that, something I do have remedies that I use when I'm sort of in a stuck between a rock and a hard place. So if I'm about to go out and I've eaten something that's upset my tummy, I have remedies that I know will fix this straight away. So that's what I'm going to talk about now. So to start with, I use my 1UP BCAAs. Now, why I like these is because they're not only filled with amino acids, but they actually contain glutamine and collagen. So this is an all-in-one product. I love collagen because I love the idea of skin tightening, and I feel like it's a massive anti-aging product, and the fact that it's in this is amazing because it's one less thing that I'm buying. Collagen can be quite expensive. Collagen can be $50 to literally $100 on the shelf. So the fact that it's in this, I love. Glutamine is also something that is very gut health specific. Basically, glutamine is found naturally in our body, and it helps with the lining of our stomach wall, so our gut lining. What our gut lining does is it regulates the acidity and the good bacteria in our stomachs. Now, we need this acidity and good bacteria to help break down foods. When we don't have this balance of acidity and good bacteria is when we get bloated, because basically there's a whole lot of food in our bellies that can't go anywhere because it's not being digested properly. So this helps massively with that, and I sip on these all day. Some people like to just have it during their workout. I'm a bit addicted, and I sort of like to keep these on hand as a hydration method, and the fact that they have the glutamine and the collagen in them as well, it's perfect for me. So I get this. My favorite flavor is watermelon. So I use this with this, and this is going to sound really weird, but this is what I do. With this BCAAs, I mix my apple cider vinegar. I've had so many girls message me saying, how do you do this? It's so gross. I promise you, I promise you that you will get used to this. Start off, you don't need to put in a cup of apple cider vinegar. Literally 1 to 2 tablespoons is plenty. This is a godsend. It is acidic in itself. So when you drink this with food, before food or after food, first thing in the morning or last thing at night, it basically becomes an aid for your stomach to digest everything. It stops food from being stuck in your digestive walls or intestinal walls, and it gets rid of bloating like that. You would have seen from my thumbnail that I was extremely bloated. So right after that picture, I'm like, I just feel it was painful. It was actually painful. Like my stomach was so hard and it hurt. Like it hurt. I had some of this with my BCAAs, and what I'm about to show you next, gone within half an hour. It is amazing. One thing I would recommend is always get an apple cider vinegar, and it says basically contains the mother. So I'll show you that. I'll just let that focus. So see there, contains the mother. I get this brand, Or, so this one's Melrose, or I get, it's Bragg apple cider. I find that one's really good as well. You have to be a little bit careful because different apple ciders have different acidity levels. So see how you go. I find that these ones work best for me. Some don't. Some don't work well at all for me. This is a safe one, and so is the Bragg. It's BRAGG brand. At least in Australia. I'm not entirely sure about other countries. With these two, my final product is lemon. Lemon, again, it's so alkalizing, it's detoxing, it flushes out toxins, it quenches thirst, it's got so many positives, and it also will help with de-bloating. So those three, people always ask me how often I have all of this. I definitely have it first thing in the morning, and I definitely have it with my last meal at night. I normally have another serve during the day. Why? Because it's really hot where I live, so I'm constantly thirsty, but also it just makes me feel really good. Really good. So there's those three products. Something else I really like to do is adding cinnamon. So I get the organic cinnamon. I'll let that focus. And I add this to my coffee. So what cinnamon does is cinnamon is a calmer. Cinnamon calms everything. It calms our insulin, it calms our blood sugar levels, it calms our belly. It's a real soother. So I have this first thing in the morning with my coffee, and it stabilizes my blood sugar levels, and it also stabilizes that insulin spike. So if I have carbs, I'm not then forever after craving carbs because my insulin is still steady. I love cinnamon, and in coffee it actually tastes amazing. You don't need a lot, but it tastes so good. Try it, honestly. Last but not least, what I make sure I always have in my diet is a good probiotic. So this is the Blackmore's brand, but I switch over brands. Something I never do, and there's a lot of arguments about this, as to whether you need to have your probiotic refrigerated. You can get probiotics these days that are still live, that don't need to be refrigerated. For me personally, I don't like my probiotics refrigerated because if I go away, if I'm traveling, if I leave them out, that's them gone. So I always get a brand that I don't have to refrigerate, and it's proven that they still work just as effectively as the refrigerator ones. Science is constantly coming up with new ways of producing stuff, and I have these morning and night. If I'm having a particularly bad day where I'm just like, oh, I feel really bloated, I will have it with probably 3 times a day. So they're my tips to keep your bloating at bay. But guys and girls, honestly, to avoid bloating entirely, you really need to become a bit more intuitive with your body. You need to know if you're eating something that's upsetting you, that you need to stop eating that food. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to realize what it is, and it can be anything from dairy to certain vegetables to certain meats to wheat to gluten. No one can openly tell you that unless you go and get a full allergy test, which can be really expensive. So an easy way to do this is to be intuitive and take note of what's upsetting you. Guys, I really hope this helped you. If you have any questions or would like for me to talk more about a certain topic within bloating, let me know. I'm happy to do another video, but I hope that has helped with some bloating tips. And just know that you're definitely not the only one who suffers from bloating. Don't feel insecure about it. Don't feel like you can't do stuff because of it. Still enjoy life. Try these simple remedies. I will put my discount code for 1UP Nutrition in the link in the description box. It's 20% off, so it's a massive discount. And honestly, let me know how you go with it all. Don't let it stop you from having fun. Anyway guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed this vlog. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will be back with more soon. Brian says hi. Say hi, Brian. Say hi.